Hello, I am Orange Cat, and this is my analysis of Toonami's ratings for June 22nd, 2019. Let's start with the top of the block. My Hero Academia is at a 0.17 this week. Dragon Ball Super is at a 0.27 this week. Attack on Titan is at a 0.16 this week. The Promised Neverland at a 0.13. Alicization also at a 0.13. Lupin the Third at a 0.12. Black Clover at a 0.13. Boruto at a 0.12, his dad at a 0.11, Hunter x Hunter at a 0.10, and the greatest anime of all time, Jusetto Machu Picchu at a 0.08. In general, this was a very poor week for Toonami in terms of ratings. One thing to note of was My Hero Academia dropping 800ths this week to a 0.17, which I think led to a cascading effect throughout the rest of the block where everything dropped at least a small amount. Notably, Dragon Ball Super, which is dropping pretty close to the lowest it's been in the Tournament of Power arc at a 0.27. This might have been the lowest it's been during this current arc. And also total viewers for Dragon Ball Super being under 600,000, which is almost unheard of for the show. And again, one big lingering headline going into next week is the fact that this is the last episode of The Promised Neverland, and it's going to be the re-airing of episode 135 of Hunter x Hunter. So what we've got is what's going to replace these shows. We already know that most likely it will be Gundam Origin at 3 a.m. the following week to replace Hunter x Hunter slot. However, we have the question of the Promised Neverland slot. There's been many contenders tossed around of, let's say, Mob 2 or One Punch Man 2, or even some people thinking that Toonami might, for a change, go to a show that's not a shonen, something like a Konosuba or other very low odds suggestions, knowing Toonami's history with non-shonen, and the one non-shonen they've shown in the past couple years being Pop Team Epic, which is pretty notorious for its very poor ratings on the block, which means non-shonen is not going to be very likely. Although I personally hope to see someday Toonami have occasionally air something that's not a shonen, because it gets a little repetitive to me, at least in my opinion, for every single show on the whole block to be more or less cut out of the same cloth like that. But again, back to these ratings. Lupin the Third. It's been a long-running show on this block alone, because if you remember, just last year we had Part 4 on the block, and it's just been underperforming. And I believe it underperformed with Part 4 as well, which really just shows how much Toonami really loves these deals for multi-season shows, to the point where even if it hurts their ratings, they're going to do that. Because Lupin is not pulling in the ratings. It's not a ratings juggernaut. Like, I like the first two episodes so far of Part 5 personally, but it seems to not necessarily be the case for so many other people. I believe it only had like 234,000 overall viewers, which is pretty hilariously low. And again, but one thing to still say about the block is for its overall time, it's still doing pretty well. Like, for example, Dragon Ball Super was the third highest rated cable show on Saturday, albeit it did run at the same time as one of the shows that did beat it, which is Live PD, which is an A&E show, which wins virtually every Saturday. And also to note, also this same night was the airing of the Gold Cup match, which was the rematch between the United States and Trinidad and Tobago of the infamous match in 2017, which knocked the United States out of World Cup contention. Which fortunately, US got revenge. They completely demolished Trinidad and Tobago in that match. I don't think that had much of an impact on these ratings. I still think overall the problem with these ratings is the fact that My Hero Academia is not the type of show that's going to lead in well between Family Guy and Dragon Ball Super. Like I said, my suggestion is maybe throw in a Naruto Shippuden in there. I mean, it's a recognizable name. Like, if you're someone who's only very casually into anime, occasionally watch anime, and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna watch the block for Dragon Ball Super, you've probably heard of Naruto, because Naruto is one of those shows that had Time in the Sun, was a massive name for a while, like towards the end of the 2000s. And I can see people being like, oh, I recognize this character. And especially if you start right during a filler arc where you don't need to know the plot or you don't necessarily need to know everything that's been going on, you can have people watch it and just casually enjoy it, which I think was part of the reason for the success of Dragon Ball Super currently. Toonami. It's partial nostalgia, and also it's not a show that feels exactly Japanese in a way. Like it's obviously an anime, of course, Dragon Ball Super, but it's not like something where it feels like you have to know something about the culture to understand it. You can just watch it as, wow, these people are glowing and are shooting giant fireballs at each other, and you get enjoyment from that type of angle. And I think Naruto, to a degree, like if you know the stereotypes of, oh, those are shurikens, and oh, look, they're ninjas. I think that can really appeal to a casual audience well, even though we're more than halfway through Shippuden. At least that's my opinion. Your opinions on this situation, Tommy's ratings. Do you think the ratings are good? Do you think should be at 10:30 ahead of Dragon Ball Super? What shows do you want to see on the blog? What do you think is going to replace The Promised Neverland? Please leave a comment down below. If you want this content, if you want more content like this, please like, please subscribe. I appreciate your support. I am the Super Orange Cat, and that is all.